Welcome. This is Suzanne,
Lauri, Susan,
Roxie.
and we are Three Old Broads and a Lady.
Lauri here. Today, our topic is, what would we do if we could go into the Wayback Machine to some point in history? Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the Wayback Machine was a device in a Saturday morning cartoon called Peabody's Improbable History. And he was one of a cartoon cavalcade. It was featured on Rocky and his friends. So Mr. Peabody was a friend of Rocky, who was a squirrel, and Mr. Peabody is a dog, a genius dog, because he used to say that he was a genius all the time, and he wore glasses. So that obviously made him a genius. And he had a boy, Sherman. And so the two of them would take, every week, they would take a trip through the Wayback Machine, and they would set the dials to a certain date, certain time, certain place, and they would go and visit various people. And, of course, remember, it's improbable, so they were all very funny. So what about us? Do we want to go through the Wayback Machine? I do. I think it would be fun. Of course, that's not possible because it comes from a genius dog. So anyway, I thought about this topic and I went, where would I like to go? So I thought about it, and I thought about some fun things, some crazy things, some wild things. And maybe this is profound, or it might be because I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I don't know. I thought I'd like to set the Wayback Machine for Jerusalem in 2,000 years ago. And I'd like to be an attendee at the wedding feast of Cana. Why? Because I like wine, and I bet the wine there was probably the best vintage that was ever served at any wedding or any place ever. It would be a lot of fun to go there and check the place out and see what kind of tidbits that they had to, enjoy.
Could you explain what the wedding feast of Cana is?
For
those who are not, did not go through 12 years.
Yes, of high school. Well, of Catholic school, 12 years. And anyway, so what it is this was the first public miracle that was performed by Jesus. And it was at the behest of his mom, which was part of one of the reasons why I liked it so much. The father of the bride had run out of wine. And so Mary, Jesus' mother, goes to him and says, could you do something about this? More or less, okay, so he has a bunch of water brought in big, gigantic jars, and they started dipping in, and it was the best wine anybody had ever drunk, from water to wine. I'm sure most people know about that, but now you know what transpired there. And one of the wedding guests goes to the father of the bride at this point and says, you did this all wrong. Usually, you serve the best wine first and the inferior wine later, probably because after a while, people don't care what they're drinking at a wedding. We've all been there, I'm sure. And so anyway, that is the miracle of the wedding feast of Cana. But I liked that story so much because it's so human, and it was just, and he was, doing something nice for his mom because she asked him to. And anyway, so I just thought it would be a fun place to go, and I really would love to have some of that wine. That just sounded like a good thing. And anyway, so the idea behind this topic is, where would you go? What would you do? And who would you talk to? So I thought, well, do I want to talk to Jesus from one guest to another? No. And I figured this, I don't have to, because I probably will be able to talk to him when he comes back, because he said he would. And that's so
then you would go into the way forward machine.
Yeah, then I would have to go to the future machine.
Jesus when he came back.
When he comes back. So that's kind of it. And I thought, the food must have been pretty good, and because they had a lot of honey and dates and lamb and Of course, if you wanted a shrimp cocktail, well, you'd have to go to another place another time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my first thing, and because that was the most profound idea I had. If we have more time, I might share some of the other goofier ones that I came up with. But anyway, who else has one?
I have one. And I, like you, I thought about, gee, it would be interesting to sit and listen to the Sermon on the Mount, or it would be, or sit under a tree with the Buddha and listen to him talk, or walk the fields with Mohammed and see what he had to say. But when I got right down to it, if I had like one shot at it, if I really had only one shot, I would set the Wayback Machine for like Nebraska in 1880, and I would meet my great-grandfather and great-grandmother.
Wow.
Because they were there then. My grandfather would have been about 5. He was probably a little pest, I can just imagine. But I thought it would be so nice. I have no pictures of them. I have pictures of my mother's side of the family going way, way back, but nothing of my father's family. And to be able to just, shake their hand and say, hi, how are you? Or look into their faces and see if I could see my dad or one of my uncles or somebody in their faces, and just maybe at some place where there was like a picnic or something. They used to have those big family picnics, and just watch them interact with people, listen to what they talk about, probably the weather.
What games did they play? Did they play cornhole or something like that?
Stuff like that. I just feel like that would make me feel so connected. A couple of years ago, my sister and I went back through that part of the country specifically to go to where my grandmother and grandfather were buried, because we had never been there and we had never seen it. And we got to this little place outside of the town that my dad grew up in, this old cemetery. And we found their plaques. We found the placards from Grandma and Grandpa. And then right next to it, there's this great big headstone, and it was my great-grandfather, and I didn't even know. We didn't even know he was there, So it was like, so special. And to me, that would be where I would spend my time in the Wayback Machine.
Cool. I guess I'm not quite as sentimental as either one of you, but to me, it would be really fun to go on the Wayback Machine back to the days of Hollywood at its birth, kind of.
Oh,
to be on the set of one of those old silent movie films where, people, those were the days when you could just come to Hollywood and become an extra in the movies, and suddenly you were stars and things like that. But it would just be so much fun, I think, to be back there at the birth of that industry, and being a part of that. Maybe you'd meet Charlie Chaplin or W.C. Fields or one of those, famous silent film actors. And it just seems like that would be a really interesting. That does sound
knowing what we know now.
Well, like Cecil B. DeMille.
Yeah.
My dad, we went to USC, and they always needed extras, and for this movie or that movie, and so you could get 3 squares a day if you were there the whole day, and you got fed for nothing. And this was during the Depression. And they loved being extras in these films because they fed them all pretty good. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they needed somebody of a certain stature or whatever. And my dad was never very tall, and our whole family was short, and he was about 5'4". And but he was pretty sturdy, but they needed a couple of short people to make the scene look bigger. So they set this little woman next to my short dad, and he brings her a drink. It was a party scene, so he brings her a little plate of goodies and brings her a drink, and then they sit and all that. And what it is it made the scene look very, very big, like
force at the back, like
perspective. Force perspective, exactly. And it's like in Casablanca, where they had a model of the airplane that was going to take off, and then they hired these little people to work on the plane and everything. And if you don't know that, you just think it's just people working on this plane way far away, but they were awfully close. And so the dad got some parts like that. He was in a movie one time that had Amazon women in it who were supposedly taller than everybody, and all the men were short. So they said, "Oh yeah, we'll take you," and so there was that kind of stuff. And he had a lot of stories. And Cecil B. DeMille, my dad, a college guy, right? He says, that guy, he had the foulest mouth I ever heard. And my dad was an athlete. He played sports, even though he's short stature, but he was very athletic. And you'd think you'd hear a lot of that on the gridiron or, wherever, sports are being played. But no, that Cecil B. DeMille had this riding crop and these puttees that he would wear, and he would just scream and yell. And I guess that just didn't set well with my dad. I guess. But yeah, Hollywood would be a really fun place to kind of hang out in.
Yeah, I'm just going back to your idea that your dad was cast because he was short. I had a casting experience like that one time. The LA Opera was looking for supernumeraries for their opera, and so they had this open call. And so I went, my husband went, several of us went, and we all you did was stand in a line, and they looked whether you could fit into a costume or not. And So my husband ended up riding a horse in one of the operas just because he fit into the costume. And I got immediately cut because I didn't fit into any of the costumes they were trying to fill. So that was kind of reminding me of that idea that sometimes it's just about how tall you are.
Oh, well, yeah, they did that at the Amundsen for an Inspector Calls. They needed a whole bunch of townspeople to stand at the back of the stage at the very end of the show. And somebody that I knew got in because she was a size 10. They needed a size 10. Yeah. Here, this is the costume. Can you wear it? Okay, you're in. So,
So we haven't heard from Suzanne. Where did you go?
I don't know. Hollywood, I didn't even think of Hollywood, but I would like to go back to Socrates and Plato's time because I would love to see those buildings in Greece.
Before they got blown up.
Complete, yeah. I would like to see them complete, plus, the whole democracy.
Yeah, where that started, yeah.
And the other place would be Shakespeare's time because I really want to know if that man wrote all those plays.
Yeah, that's a mystery.
Yeah.
Well, Suzanne, you're a playwright yourself, so maybe you could have helped him out, made it improve some of his work a little.
No.
Well, that's exactly what Mr. Peabody used to do.
Yeah.
He would go and he would fix things so things were going wrong that in the history of it, and so Mr. Peabody would step in. And there was a situation one time where it was a battle during the Revolutionary War, and the famous line of "Don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes," but the British showed up wearing sunglasses, and of course this is like, what do we do now? So somehow Mr. Peabody got them out of that hole. But I didn't want to interfere. I'd like to just be that fly on the wall and listen and that kind of stuff. But yeah, Socrates, the beginnings of democracy.
Well, interestingly, scientifically, it is, at least theoretically, well, actually, it's actually happened that you can do time travel into the future.
How so?
Well, it's actually happened already. One of the cosmonauts, Sergei Krikalev.
Oh, yeah.
He had a whole bunch of things. Well, one of the things was he was kind of lost in space for 311 days. And the reason why was because he was launched up into space and then the USSR fell while he was in space.
Oh, no.
So nobody had any jurisdiction over him. So he was like rotating the Earth or doing whatever he was doing up there for 311 days.
That's
before
almost a year.
Yes, he was supposed to be up there for like 5 months or something. It was like a space station thing or something. But he wasn't supposed to be up there that long, but no one would bring him down. But anyway, somehow
that's bureaucracy for you.
He was moving so fast at certain times that he actually traveled 0.02 seconds into the future. And so that when he came back, then he was 0.02 seconds younger than any of the other people that would have been born at the exact same time and date that he was born.
Yeah, that's Einstein's theory.
Yeah.
You're in space and you're traveling in space and time goes slower in space than it does on Earth. So as you're traveling in space, when you come back, it's further into the future.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. I've heard of that theory. Einstein.
That's Einstein's theory.
Yeah.
Yes, there's actually two different theories of how you can travel into the future. There's the velocity time dilation. They're both called dilations. And that means that if you travel like at the speed of light, that's when you can then, you travel into space and it's a lot slower in space than it is on Earth. And then there's also the gravitational time dilation. And that means that if there's a strong gravitational field, like a black hole or something like that, that time slows down if you get caught up in something like that too. So if you got into either one of those situations, which are close to impossible to get into, but if you did, then when you return to Earth, you would be younger than, and if you were there for what seemed like a short amount of time for you, like maybe a month or something, when you came back to Earth, then like 30 years on Earth would have passed or something like that. However, scientists are very doubtful that you can actually travel into the past.
There's a lot of theories on that, though, because they think that time is not flat.
Right. So there's theories like if you could get into a wormhole or what they call a rotating cosmic string or something like that, then you could get through and go through the wormhole. And there's a theory about connecting the two wormhole openings together, and then you could
There's a lot of theories on that.
Or however, it's a continuum.
Yeah,
and you're here, and you can
folding it like a burrito.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of theories, but there's a lot of controversy. Like, for instance, Stephen Hawking believed that there's no way that you could travel into the past. It was his after he thought in his own thought patterns that he had, that it was not really possible. And even the people that say, well, it's a possibility, you would have to speed up things. You'd have to use up so much energy, or that it would, or you'd have to go into what's called negative mass or something. And at this point, people don't really think that those things exist, that that the reality exists, that it's really just science fiction to go into the past. But going into the future actually has already been done.
Going into the past, you wouldn't be able to change anything anyway.
No, you wouldn't.
Because it's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's already happened. There'd be no way to change it.
Because we've all seen the TV shows when we were growing up, the Star Trek and all those things, and they went into the past, and then they come back and go, uh-oh, we forgot something, and they had to go back into the past, and because the woman had stopped this woman who was she had a peace movement, and so we didn't enter World War II, and things didn't change, or things changed differently. And anyway, it was one of those things. And Edith Keeler was her name. I remember Edith Keeler must die. That was anyway. But anyhow, that wasn't the only time. I mean, the Twilight Zone did it. Everybody did it. And
the whole idea that if you step on a bug and
right,
time,
the whole place is
the sound of thunder theory.
You have a whole TV show, Quantum Leap.
Yes, Quantum Leap, and he was hopping back and forth, and so, of course, then there's Back to the Future. So that was that's my favorite time travel thing. So it was a DeLorean instead of the Wayback Machine.
Right. And so there's actually a very recent article, May 6th, 2026, written by a woman named Elizabeth Rain, who says that there's a recent movie called Interstellar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know that movie.
In which
Matthew McConaughey
was able to send messages to his daughter through. Anyway, and in this article in Science Magazine, she said, well, scientists now actually believe that you could send messages to the past, but not necessarily travel to the past, since it has to do with if you were in the future, you can remember what happened to you in the past, so you could send it back to something that you already remembered. I don't know. This was this article I was looking at, and I didn't understand it all. But anyway, but somehow
there's a theory out there.
There's something called quantum entanglement, where things entangle with each other. Yes. The time things. It sounds like you know what I'm talking about, Suzanne. So
I
you
have heard of I can't. I've heard of quantum entanglement, but I am not a physicist.
No,
so trying to explain that would be
I don't
a little
understand
bit
it either.
difficult.
But anyway, somehow through quantum entanglement or another thing called the closed timeline curve, which is something a lot of people are working with right now. Again, I can't understand them very much myself until I would go down a deep wormhole of my own. But anyway, but somehow the fact that you could go back, you could remember the past, then you could send a message to that past. But if you don't, but you can't send a message to the future because you have no memory of the future.
Yeah, because it hasn't happened yet.
And so, and if you were trying to send it to a place where you had no memory of in the past, then you would not. It would be the same as trying to send it to the future
Because you
somehow.
you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just would be floating out there.
That's
for anybody who, wow, just my brain is exploding.
I know.
I noticed you have May 6th, 2026. I was thinking about things that I might want to, do.
Uh-huh.
And I thought another thing would be really exciting to do in the Wayback Machine. Go to May 8th, 1946 and go to New York because that was VE Day.
Oh.
And they all went
you
wild.
Find yourself a sailor
I wasn't a nurse though, so she was dressed in a nurse's uniform, right? And that was
You could wear a nurse's uniform back.
I could tell Mr. Peabody, let me change clothes really quick. Pick up that sailor.
And a place where everybody was drinking. Again,
and probably they probably didn't have as good a wine as my first story, but there was a lot of drinking going on. And my mother said that everybody went out. She wasn't in New York because she was in LA, but everybody partied here too. And it was just that the time being the time, and a lot of people were there, and they all went to Times Square and all over the place, all across the country. She said everybody was out partying and honking their horns and on their cars, and the buses stopped because they couldn't get through. And the buses got out and just jumped around. And she said, yeah, that was quite a thing. And I just saw the date there and I thought, yeah, May 8th.
What? The only thing is that just going back to that date, would it have the same impact on you that it had on the people that had lived through that, and had suffered and had worried and all of the deprivation and everything that they had gone through, and then suddenly, it's a victory and the war is over and everything's so great? Would it have the same impact on somebody like us who only intellectually understands what happened but didn't actually live through it? I don't know.
But we could probably get into it. If everybody's partying, we could probably party pretty good too. It's like, hey, I'm going to get into on this too.
Major parties seem to be your theme.
Love those.
You would like to do back in the past.
Let's go to the party there and then move along and go there. But yeah, wouldn't I think that would be a lot of fun to do that. And because we didn't even have the suffering that they did in Europe. I mean, that war started long before we got in it, and so then we over here we had to worry about the fact that this was VE Day, and we had another whole victory that we had to deal with.
Well, I remember Pam Bloxham actually.
Oh yeah,
she is like 10 years our senior.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was about 4 or something.
No, she was older than that, I think.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, she was old enough to remember. But on VE Day in England, she remembered that there were bonfires. I mean, she was very small, so she
was young, yeah.
Didn't remember. She didn't quite grasp the whole thing, but she remembered that everybody was out celebrating, and they built these big bonfires, and everybody was having a great time. And so, yeah, in England, in particular, they were really relieved to have that nastiness.
Bonfires kind of maybe relate to the fact that they always had to be in the dark when they were being bombed.
That
could be.
So maybe it was kind of a release. Yeah, we can do light, we can have fire. We can, be outside. And,
they also have bonfires on Guy Fawkes Day. It's just that's the way the English celebrate. They just like to set something on fire. But anyway,
I have a couple of fun history facts that probably would work really well with Mr. Peabody.
Mr. Peabody, of course.
One is Napoleon was attacked and defeated by a horde of rabbits.
Oh,
Is this in Waterloo?
That's one I've never
or is
heard
this
of.
No, it's just
No, it was Watership Down.
it says in one of history's most shocking upsets, the Emperor of the French was attacked by a horde of fluffy bunnies. The coup took place in July 1807 as Napoleon and his crew were celebrating a victory with a traditional rabbit hunt. Rather than run away, however, the bunnies began swarming Napoleon and his men. Though amusing at first, the situation quickly overwhelmed some of Europe's foremost military strategists.
Wow, they fought back.
That's right, isn't it?
So
Wasn't it Jimmy Carter that almost got attacked by a crazy rabbit, or was it?
No, that was Monty Python.
oh, that's right.
I thought wasn't there?
Or Elmer Fudd.
What's your other
Okay,
one?
there's
He mounted a counterattack. Or remember that show where the turkeys, they were throwing the turkeys out of the helicopter on
that was
Thanksgiving?
Cincinnati.
Yeah, and then they mounted a counterattack. And because they were all messed up and their suits are all ripped up, and they said, I swear, this is what happened. So
What's your other one?
even poultry, gets upset.
Next one was Andrew Jackson's parrot was kicked out of his funeral for swearing.
I remember reading that somewhere else. Yes. Apparently, the parrot was as foul-mouthed as Andrew Jackson himself. And at the funeral, he just wouldn't
The
keep
parrots
quiet.
learn from what they hear.
Yeah, you better watch it. So we were talking about Alexa earlier, it listens to everything. Yeah, you better be careful when you're talking around your parrot because it will say the thing you don't want them to say.
They're just like children. They always pick up the words you don't want them to ever say.
I'll just do one more.
Okay, good.
The dog ate my homework excuse.
Yeah.
Okay, well, John Steinbeck's dog ate the first draft of Mice and Men.
I see.
Oh, my.
Did he have a wire hair fox terrier?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Just guessing.
Should have eaten the second draft. in my
Irish
opinion.
setter.
Huh?
It was an Irish setter.
Well, they're usually pretty casual. But
Oh, no.
that's funny. Well, we should go through the Wayback Machine with that one, sure, and see and ask Steinbeck, if he could dictate the first draft again. I don't know.
There's another theory of time travel that I might as well just share with you, and that is the many worlds interpretation, which is also hotly debated. And that is that if you were to travel, that some people say, well, you couldn't travel back into your own time and change it, but you could travel into a parallel universe where that other timeline, it changes, whatever you do changes it, but it's in a different timeline than the one that you're originally traveling through.
Wow.
And a guy named David Deutsch, I hope that's the way you pronounce his name anyway.
Yeah, that's how you say it.
That's he believed that that's what would happen, that a time travel would arrive in a different world because they couldn't go into the world that they're in because they'd be changing time by doing that. But Stephen Hawking, again, good old Stephen Hawking.
He had a lot of time to think about stuff.
And he did not like this time travel subject, apparently, because he said, no, the time traveler would have to stay in their own world. They wouldn't do that. So so they had a debate, or I don't know if they personally debated back and forth, but there was a debate.
He's talking about multiverses.
I guess
right?
So, yeah. Many worlds interpretation is the name of the thing. So
Every time something changes, a new thing branches off.
Yeah, it's
so
like
you have all these things running sort of parallel.
I've seen the Avengers. I know what you're talking
about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, this all sounds very familiar. Why is that? That's what it is.
This is all DC Comics.
Well, yeah, but the thing is,
Marvel.
The thing is,
not DC.
I heard this. I'm kind of agnostic on the whole UFO thing. It's like, okay, prove it to me. Oh, and I don't really care about it because I can't do anything about it. So, if we have aliens living among us, I don't know. But one of these reports. One of these reports says that, there's we have discovered 4 different types of creatures that have been here. And I thought, that's interesting. I mean, what about that? Well, what it was they had these 4 different categories. And one was reptilian, Yes. And one was plant-based. And one was, let's see, what was the other one? It was an insect. And then the fourth one was Norwegians. and because the alien was really tall and blondish, kind of, but humanoid.
I see.
But haven't we? That's what we've been seeing in these movies all this time. So I'm thinking, what kind of a report is that?
Yeah, well,
And somebody must have been drinking.
Everything
I don't
is
know. always
based a little bit on fact.
Yeah, well, there's them with the giant ants, and there's the thing from another world, which was a plant, and
the Day of the Triffids. The thing is, if there's anybody or anything out there that has the technology and has the ability to actually fly through the universe vast distances to get here, they're going to take one look around and go, "Oh heck no, we can do better."
That's
than
a
this,"
thought.
and just shoot on off.
Yeah, it's to head on to a different planet.
We'll come back in a couple of millennia when they've either killed each other or they've figured it out.
But as soon as I read that list of things, I thought, nah, somebody's making that up. I've seen too many movies as a child.
We're at time, but let me just say one thing. Or they come, they conquer, they take all the resources, they leave.
Well,
and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's what AI is.
Yeah.
So they say.
Okay.
All right.
So we are at time, even though Roxie's got a really sick alarm. I mean, I can barely hear it. It's kind of like, and then it stops.
Well, I turned it off because we were still
leave it
rambling.
on. Doesn't matter. Leave it on. Let it go. Let it go. That way we stop rambling. Well, we try.
Oh,
anyway.
well, I don't know. The rambling part is the part that's what we do best.
Okay, so join us again next time when maybe we might have an inkling of what we're going to talk about. I kind of highly doubt it, but...
well, we went from cartoons to Hawking and Stephen Hawking in this episode. I think we covered the gamut there, but...
and fun facts of history.
And fun facts of history, so...
Okay, so join us again next time. Until then, this is Suzanne.
This is Lauri.
This is Susan.
This is Roxie.
And let's have some wine.
That's not the line. The
No,
line-
sorry.
And
We are 3 old broads and a lady.
Besides, I don't like wine.